violation of the Texas Crown Act. The bill itself protects his hairstyle.
George's family has now filed suit against the Texas Education Agency and a federal civil rights lawsuit against the state's governor and attorney general, alleging they failed to enforce the new law. School officials say George's dreadlocks violate the district's dress code because his hair falls below his eyebrows and earlobes. Texas is one of 24 states to pass a version of the Crown Act. It inspired April Phillips, an Austin area social worker, to launch her own nonprofit called Professionals. Its slogan is crowning our communities.
I figured that now, since our hair would be liberated, it was time to unify.
Her website aims to create a national directory of Black and minority-owned hair care businesses based on zip code. Businesses can pay to advertise on the site. Phillips says the goal is simple.
Reclaim the industry, reabsorb these funds back into the pocket of Black, Indigenous, people of color, owned and operated businesses, and then reinvest in the communities that they serve.
She plans to reinvest money generated by the website's directory into community partners who provide legal support, entrepreneurship training, and mental health services to Black and minority communities. The nonprofit has already caught the attention of business owners such as Jesse Webb. The Austin loctician specializes in styling locks, braids, cornrows, and other ethnic hair.
That's one of the main phone calls we get all the time. Do y'all specialize in natural hair? Do y'all take care of natural hair?
Webb says the nonprofit's website is important to natural hair care businesses like his.
This platform gives us a voice, gives us a vision, gives us a place to be seen and heard. Oftentimes, we're bunched in or put behind or looked over because we're only dealing with the natural hair.
Supporters of the Crown movement say they'll continue to work until there are race-based hair discrimination bans at the federal level and in all 50 states. For NPR News, I'm Kaylee Hunt in Austin.
This is Morning Edition from NPR News. I'm Ian Martinez.
And I'm Sarah McCammon.
This is KNPR News. I'm Rick Andrews. An exhibition on display at City Hall in downtown Las Vegas honors entertainer Debbie Reynolds, who died in 2016 at 84. There could be many facets to cover in her long career, from television to Broadway and, of course, the movies. And over the years, she no doubt had a fondness for taking to the stage in Las Vegas. The exhibit, titled The Persona, The Person, Debbie Reynolds in Las Vegas, offers a glimpse into both her professional career and personal life. I spoke with Aaron Berger, executive director of the Neon Museum Las Vegas, who worked with Reynolds' son, Todd Fisher, to piece together a look back.
If you want to know about her life as a person, as an entrepreneur, as a mother, as someone who is trying to find a way to balance her professional life and her career and earning money while also raising two small children, she felt Las Vegas was the place to do that. That let her do what she needed to do.
Among the items on display is a dress worn by Reynolds at the Riviera Hotel and Casino in 1962 for a performance that kicked off her residency there. There are also photographs, including one of her with a fellow Las Vegas icon.
She and Liberace were great friends. She accompanied him many times to celebrity events.
The free exhibit, The Persona, The Person, Debbie Reynolds in Las Vegas, will be at Las Vegas City Hall's Grand Gallery through October 26th. This is KNPR News.
Inflation is up, but it's also down.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Amazon Business, helping provide a smarter, easier way to get the supplies businesses need to thrive. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying. And by Otter.ai. If someone's late to a meeting, Otter's AI-powered meeting assistant catches them up with a real-time meeting summary. More at Otter.ai.
From Marketplace, I'm Sabri Benishore, in for David Brancaccio.
Overall inflation rose for the second month in a row per the PCE price index out this morning. On the other hand, if you remove food and energy, core inflation fell. Christopher Lowe is here to help make sense of that. He's chief economist at FHN Financial in New York. Chris, 2 months of rising overall inflation. That's not the right direction.
The one silver lining inside of this is that the bulk of inflation this month came from a big increase in gasoline prices. And in contrast to when inflation was raging back in 2021, we're seeing this really concentrated stuff in one place. And because gas prices are up enough to be painful, other companies are finding it more difficult to raise prices without losing sales.
Services inflation has been one of the sticky parts of core inflation, harder to bring down. Any sign of where that's going?
Absolutely. You know, this is the Fed's primary focus because wages figure into service inflation more than they do into goods inflation. Service inflation slowed down this month.
Really?
Companies are finding ways to manage costs and don't necessarily have to raise prices. I think, again, that's mostly because they can't without losing sales.
Here we
Christopher
fucking
Lowe is
go.
chief economist at FHN Financial in New York. Chris, always good to talk to you.
Thanks, Sabri.
Rising mortgage rates have been chilling the housing market. We learned this week the number of pending home sales fell more than 7% between July and August. But some in the housing business are already looking past the high mortgage rates of today and hoping for a better tomorrow. Marketplace's Justin Ho checked in with a few lenders.
Plenty of people want mortgages right now, but rising rates restrict what they can afford, says Dominic Miarta, CEO of Optus Bank in South Carolina.
A lot of borrowers that would have normally qualified for $500,000-$600,000 house are migrating towards $250,000 to $300,000 houses because that's simply all they can qualify for.
So competition for those homes is heating up even more. Chris Duncan is senior loan officer at LaSalle State Bank in Illinois. He says a lot of his customers are frustrated.
Customers who will come in and pre-qualify for a loan, and they're waiting around, 6, 8, 10 months until a house comes on the market that they can buy.
Duncan says many homebuyers are willing to borrow at today's rates because they're betting rates will eventually fall. He says more borrowers are asking about adjustable rate mortgages.
And a lot of our borrowers are assuming that in 3 or 5 years, those interest rates are going to have come back down.
And that will all depend on how long the Federal Reserve keeps interest rates elevated. I'm Justin Ho for Marketplace.
All right, let's do the numbers. The Dow is up 83 points, that is 0.3%. The S&P 500 is up 0.6%. The NASDAQ is up 1.2%.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Bitwarden, the enterprise password manager for security and productivity. Easy to use with username and password autofill, biometric unlock, and availability on any device. More at bitwarden.com. And by C3 AI. C3 Generative AI provides ChatGPT enterprise search that is verifiable, secure, and accurate across all enterprise data. C3.ai. This is enterprise AI.
12:01 Sunday morning. That is when the funding for the federal government officially runs out, barring some miracle of bipartisan cooperation. Marketplace's David Brancaccio spoke with the editor-in-chief of The Economist magazine, Zanny Minton Beddoes, who argues this shutdown drama is ultimately missing the point. Here's David.
What do you make of our federal budget mess over here right now? President Biden signed a law a few months ago which capped dollars for the things that Congress can actually have a say over. It seemed like there's some order being brought to this process, but I'm not seeing order.
It's a circus all over again. But what actually worries me much more about the US is not the consequences of a shutdown, which would be, of course, terrible for the people involved, but the bigger picture problem is that the US economy, which is not in recession and we're at peacetime, is running a 7% GDP budget deficit. And bond yields have risen. They're now, about 4.5%. So the debt service cost is becoming a real problem. The last time the US had bond yields where they were now, I think debt was about 35% of GDP. It's now 98%. So the cost of the US debt is growing dramatically. The deficit is the highest it's been in peacetime. That's what worries me.
Yeah, and people should remember, you just mentioned it quickly, which is that if we were in a terrible recession, it might make some sense to run up the deficit a little further. But this is